CKY, the Android Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Android Weekly / Android Q&A, where we go over all the latest news that happened during the week and answer your questions live. If this is your first time watching Android Weekly, this is how it goes. First, we go over the mobile news that happened during the week. Then we answer your questions that were emailed to me during the week. And my email is right here at the bottom. It's just asktheandroidguy@gmail.com. So if you have a question you would like to ask, just make sure to email me and hopefully I'll answer your question next week. Please make sure the subject is question. Now, while we're on that subject about emailing me, remember we have 2 more days till our 4-year anniversary giveaway. Check out the video and make sure you enter to win because you have the chance of winning a LG G4 and some other cool prizes. So make sure you enter because that's the only way to win. And let's get right down to it. By the way, if you have a question you're watching live, then make sure to ask your question in the comment section down below, and I will get to every comment question before we end the show. Alright, let's start off with the first news topic of the week. And yes, we have all the details on the Galaxy S7. So let's get right to it. With the Galaxy S7, we have pretty much everything we were thinking was going to happen, and these are the final details. And these look pretty official, and they coincide with everything we've gotten over the last couple weeks from Phone Arena, from mobile, Sam Mobile, and all of these news sites we have seen. So with this, yes, it does look like we're getting Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, a 5.1 and a 5.5 inch screen, as you see right here. Right here, sorry, it's reverse. As you see right there, we also have a Snapdragon 820 processor. We have a new TouchWiz skin. We have 4 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, and it is going to support a micro SD card slot. The battery size will be 3,000 milliamps, which is about 5,000 more milliamps, so that's huge, and 3,600 milliamps, which I believe ties for Samsung's biggest battery if you count the S6 Active, which I can't think off the top of my head. I want to say it's 35 or 36 though. Other feats, pressure sensitivity display, not sure how that'll work, we'll see how that is, and IP67 protection. So this is pretty interesting to see how that'll work. I'm very curious and definitely interested to see how that'll work. These will come out March 11th, again according to right here as we see, so really curious to see if all this is true. It certainly does look like it. So yeah, it looks like we'll be coming in at $699 and $799 for these phone prices, which is pretty good. The S7 Edge at this size is kind of like a mixture between the Edge and Edge Plus variants from last year. So with it being only $100 more, that's really a much better deal than we got last year for the S6 Edge. So I'm very excited about that. But that's not all we have for the S7. No, we have apparently the color variants thanks to EvLeaks. And EvLeaks has shown that we have a black phone, a silver phone, and a gold phone. Now it's important to note that all of these are the Edge design, so I'm wondering if the S7 will also have all 3 colors or this will just be for the Edge variant. But they look very good and very stunning, so I can't wait to see what they look like going forward. But yeah, so it looks like these are the colors. Hopefully we'll get all 3 colors in the US and wherever you're planning on buying your S7 from. But on the Android guys, so I always have to give you the news, of course, of other devices coming out, like the Galaxy Note 6. Yes, we're already getting some information on the Note 6, and if this is any indication, it sounds like it could be dead on, but again, as I always say early in the year, that these can change greatly throughout later in the year. Alright, so let's go over some of this stuff. So the first section is mainly right here on this photo, which we can't, which we'll go over right here. So according to this, we have the Note 6 coming in with a 5.8 inch screen, still with the 2560 by 1440 display, so 0.1 inches bigger, 6 gigs of RAM. This would be the first phone to have 6 gigs of RAM and DDR4 RAM at that. Oh my god, that's just insane. It would start with 64 gigs and also have a 128 gigs. But I do not know the language that this is in, but it does look because it has 124, that it's going to have 1 gig of dedicated graphics memory. That is insane. We're finally getting dedicated graphics, and that much dedicated graphics for a phone. Samsung looks to really be pushing into the gaming element, and it makes sense that they would do this. Why? Because if they have this for the next generation VR, oh man, that's just freaking awesome. Like, we're finally going to get gaming as we should, and it makes sense too because of the fact that if we have this kind of gaming capability with the VR, it's going to be better suited for games when, the Oculus is going to be in full effect by then. So will the different, what do you call it, the HTC Vive, and we're also going to have, of course, PlayStation VR before the holidays, which this comes out before. So if VR wants to get serious about gaming, Samsung's going to need a serious gaming device to support it. 1 gig of dedicated graphics sounds a really good start. So that's pretty exciting on my end. We also have the 12 megapixel camera with Super OIS Plus. So it sounds like they're going to upgrade the stabilization from the S7 to the Note 6. Still have the 12 megapixel bright cell camera that we've heard so much about. And yes, it does look like they're switching to 12 megapixel, as we saw in the last image and as we still see in here. So overall, this is a pretty interesting style. I'm really curious to see just how this can be, and it's so great. Can you imagine this phone? Oh, don't get me excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm already excited about the S7 and S7 Edge we're apparently getting, but I mean, look at that. Or no, wait, look at that. Look at that. That's insane. That's just insane. I want it. Give it to me, Samsung. Okay, moving on. Let's get on to the patents and other stuff that's happening out there. So we have a new smartwatch patent from Samsung, and it's basically going to be able to tell a new form of identification. So it's going to basically be able to tell from your veins that it's you who has the watch on, therefore being able to sign your phone through vein detection. I think this is kind of interesting. I think Samsung will definitely have their marketing cut out for them if they do this, but it's, again, very interesting, and I think it could be a great feature if done correctly and if it can't be easily, fixed. Or, sorry, easily, bypassed. So that's the real interesting thing about it. I would more want like a touchscreen there. Like if you give me a touchscreen to type on there, that's what I would want. More like a laser to type quickly with that, or emojis or something of a bigger. Everyone wants a projection thing. I think smartwatches are the way to do projections rather than a phone, because it just doesn't make as much sense. Whereas, anything that you can type like out like this or like this, we've already seen smartwatches have that kind of capability on the, starter ability. And this, I think, would be the next step for that. And we went over this a bit last week, but again, we are hearing more and more confirmation that not only will Apple make the announcement on March 15th, but it will launch March 18th. So this is really important because we really have to take a look at, see what these two new devices are with the iPad Air 3 and the iPhone SE. Again, it's going to be their economic iPhone and their new latest iPad Air 3. Basically, iPad Air 3 will have similar features of the Pro, including the quad speakers and everything that we got from that side, and just kind of amping up everything from there. Overall, it's a great update to the Air 3, but I just don't think it'll help Apple in terms of tablet sales. If people aren't buying the iPad Air 2, they're not going to buy the iPad Air 3. Overall, in terms of the iPhone 5 SE, that's going to be for their economic, choice, and it's really curious to see how low of a price point will that go. Will that go 580, which I believe, or 550? I think that's their cheapest iPhone, new iPhone right now. But will it go below that, or will it go higher? So really curious to see how that will go. All right, now let's go back and check out what we have this week in questions. Again, if you have a question you would like to ask, just email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, and hopefully I'll answer it next week. Now let's get to the questions that were asked this past week. And the first one is from Dawn Can't pronounce your last name, so I'm not gonna try. So I'm locked out of my Note 4. I have 3 fingerprints programmed. Basically, can't get into it anymore, and he's kind of SOL overall because he can't get into his phone anymore because of the fingerprints not being recognized. And now, as he types the password, and he can't get in either, so he's not sure what to do. So this is what you do. You're actually stuck from the Samsung side of security, not the Google side, which is a different task and a different way to get around. So if you are stuck in the Samsung way, you can reset your password and everything to it and unlock it without your fingerprint if you go on to Find My Mobile. So with Find My Mobile, you can use this website right here. So it's findmymobile.samsung.com. And you can sign in or forgot password and basically log into your account. And from here, you can actually uninstall the security that you have on your phone. And that will be the end of that. And then you'll finally be able to log back into your phone. But that's what it sounds like. It does not sound like you're locked out by Google. It sounds like you're locked out by the fingerprint, which is Samsung. So that's what it seems that your issue is that you're facing, and that's what the solution would be. All right, now we have another question from Joe, and Joe asks, I think I'm going to get the LG 10, but now I'm thinking waiting for the new 5. Or do you have a better choice? I had the S6, didn't like it at all due to SD card slot and better camera. I'm So, by the way you phrase that, are you saying that the S6 had the better camera, or you're thinking that the LG V10 will have a better camera? Because I can tell you right now, the S6 will have a better camera than the V10. The V10 does have a good amount of manual functions, but really their manual functions are very little difference between the photography side. It's more the video taking side where you can do a lot more advanced features with it. However, I have to say this, that the V10, although it does have more manual features, are you really gonna go over that in terms of manual features? Is that gonna be it, or is not? So hold on 1 second, guys. I think we might have a unfortunate troublemaker in the. Yeah, we do. Hold on, have to. And we blocked that user. Look at that. So let me remove all this crap. Sorry you guys had to deal with all that kind of stuff. I'm deleting all this right now. It always sucks when one person ruins it for everyone in the comment section, so. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that delay. Just didn't want that kind of hateful and resentful talk going on in my chat room. So now I resolve that. And now we're all set again. Okay, now that that's all taken care of. Sorry about that, just really weird people sometimes just need to say stupid stuff. Okay, so, where was I? Sorry about all that. The LG V10 versus the LG G5. I would assume that the G5 would be better in every way than the V10. Maybe the battery might be longer on the V10, but overall the G5 should be a better device. So personally, I would probably go with the G5, but I'm not sure what you would rather go with. So I would say the G5 will be the better choice overall, but whether that's true or not for you, that's going to be up to you. All right, Teresa asks, since you have been saying Android's most likely not going to update to Marshmallow OS, requesting some advice. Okay, so this is, she has a Verizon Galaxy 4, or Galaxy 4, and they have unlimited. The phone works fine, but since they have unlimited, they have to buy the phone to preserve the plan. This is true. You have to buy a new phone to stick with that plan. Uh, Brick the phone, wait for the phone to justify the amount to output for the new phone. And if I buy a phone, okay, so you're asking basically what can you do? Brick the phone, making so that they have to give you a new version of the phone. That is true. If you would brick your, I don't know if it's a Note 4 or an S4, but say it's an S4 and you brick it, yes, they will give you a upgraded phone. However, through your insurance, which you're gonna have to pay for that, so you're gonna have to pay. I don't know what Verizon's insurance is now, $150 or $180. You're gonna have to pay that. Once you do pay that, then yes, you will be able to have that. But it's just really, it's an annoying process, and again, you have to brick it in a certain way, or else they will fix it. Just to wait for a phone that justifies the amount. I mean, if you have an S4, I think the S7 would be a huge upgrade from it. The S6 would honestly be too, but if you want to hold out for reasons you didn't like the S6 for any reasons, then the S7 probably will take away those reasons if the specs that we went over in the beginning indicate how the phone will be. Um, and if you buy an unlocked phone, will it work on Verizon? Most likely not. It really, you have to check the bands of the phone working with Verizon, and that's a complicated situation that honestly I just don't think it will be worth it. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. All right, and let's get to the questions. What kind of deals do you think Verizon will have? Because I am due for an update. Not sure what kind of deals Verizon will have. They had some Valentine's Day deals, but those have now ended, of course. I think they had to do with the Droid 2 Turbo. Maybe with the new launch of the S7, the G5, they'll have some bundle deals or something like that. But also, maybe they might have some with the iPhone 5e, or maybe there'll be a huge discount on the iPhone 5 even, since that one's leaving. So those are all the possible discounts that I foresee Verizon having, besides the paying for your contracts and all that kind of stuff that they're having right now. Note 6 with a bigger screen, hopefully less bezel. I think it will. I don't think they're going to make their phone bigger. I don't see Samsung making their phone bigger at this point. I just see the screen keep getting bigger and less bezel. What will be the sizes? What will be the size of the S7? Yeah, so Guitar Solo's already answered it. The specs that we saw in Phone Arena say 5.1 and 5.5 for the Edge. So that looks about right, at least from everything we've seen. I'm getting the flagship. I'm getting a flagship this year. Any recommendations? I'm debating between the S7 and the next Nexus. It's kind of hard to answer between the next Nexus and the S7 when neither one is out yet. We haven't reviewed either one. And the next Nexus, I mean, the Nexus is so interesting, right? Because, like, you can have the Nexus in from Motorola, you can have the Nexus from Sony, you can have the Nexus from Huawei. We don't know who it's coming from, and that's from HTC. HTC or Huawei are the two ones that everyone's talking about doing it. Um, we'll see. I just don't know who's gonna back it this time. Overall, I think it's gonna just be an interesting experience for HTC to do it. HTC has said that Google wants to have more control over it, and that's been kind of a issue right now. I think they should have done that from the beginning. I think the hardware manufacturer should just make the hardware, and Google should have all the input on it, and even some input on the hardware. Nexus all the way. I have the Nexus 6P. It's great, or from anywhere. Oh no. So yeah, it's For me, it's hard to say right now. Also, the S7 versus the S7 Edge is another question, right? Or do you want a bigger screen or a smaller one? Because, for instance, I didn't like the Nexus 5X at all. Some people did, but I thought it was a waste. I thought the Nexus P was a much better upgrade, but the Nexus 6P would be more of a combatant for the S7 or the Note. So it really just depends if you want a smaller screen or bigger screen first, and then you go from there on which high-end device you want. Marshmallow on the Note 5. What the fuck? Okay, for those of you who haven't been watching Android Weekly for the past, I hate you guys. I hate you guys. So the one constant question we've gotten every single week is, when is Marshmallow coming for the Samsung phones? The Note 5, the S6, the all these different phones. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Korea finally got it. Korea finally got the S6 full version of Marshmallow, and that's it. That's the only one that's gotten the full version of Marshmallow. It's not come to Europe. It's not come anywhere else. Everyone else has betas. The only one that got the full version has been that one. So yeah, it sucks. Really sucks, definitely. So yeah, that's what has happened thus far. I don't know when they're gonna get it. I've said I believe the Note 5 and Edge Plus will get it in. I'm pushing it to April. I'm pushing it to April. I would say April will be those phones will get it. I'll say the S6 and S6 Edge might get it around that time, and everything else will be in like June or something like that. We'll see. I'm very curious. Very curious to see when Samsung will get their head up their ass and, actually update something. So yeah. Sorry. Actually, since they just make you pay more for the bill. They told me I can upgrade my unlimited because we will pay more for it. Oh, so yeah, Verizon has had a new plan now where if you're paying for unlimited, you're paying $30 a month more for having the unlimited than you did before to keep it. I don't know if that. So one of our viewers has said, Gary has said that it sounds like by paying that $30 now you can actually upgrade your 2-year contract. But Verizon's getting away with the 2-year contract, so I'm not sure how that fixes it because you can't do it on Edge unless they change that too. But yeah. Do I like Hot Pockets? Like Hot Pockets of sandwiches? I used to eat them. A lot of sodium though. Don't eat them anymore. Not as young as I used to be. Do you think the downgrade in the camera to 12 megapixel is connected somehow to Samsung downgraded their tablet's aspect ratio? Did Samsung think if they go the Apple route of 12 megapixel 4x3? I mean, I hope they don't copy Apple on every stupid thing that Apple does. Samsungs are idiots if they do keep copying Apple on anything. I mean, it's just, don't be a leader, don't be a follower. I mean, it's that simple. Which Samsung has done some stuff that Apple, has copied themselves. But it just like, I don't care for a 4x3 ratio. I really don't. It's like, what do you put a 4x3 ratio on? Because as soon as I put it to any screen, if I put it to a phone screen, if I put it to a laptop screen, if I put it to a TV screen, I want 16:9. Who the fuck prints out anymore? You know who? No one. No one prints out their photos anymore. So I think that's stupid if they're trying to count on 4x3 still being irrelevant, or still being relevant rather. I think it's a dead ratio, and I think it's stupid to try to support it, quite frankly. Do you know how many frames per second slow motion the Note 5 and how fast motion? Slow motion is 240. I'm not sure. Fast motion is 8x. So I'm not sure how quick fast motion is, to be honest. But it can go 8 times the speed of normal. So 30 time or divided by 8. So that would. I'm not sure exactly, but it's not as quick as an hyperlapse, but it is quicker. But I'm not sure about the frame rate on that. I was wondering if Foxfi will work with the new S7. It's definitely possible. I haven't had a phone that Foxfi didn't work on, but I no longer need Foxfi. So yeah. Ever since I got T-Mobile, they come with 7 gigs of hotspot, which I think upgraded to 10 for me for some reason. So I get 10 gigs a month of hotspot, so I'm fine. Uh, I currently I'm currently rolling with the S6. I'm all about having the most processing power. Do you know if the Snapdragon will stack up to the S6 processor? I think the Snapdragon 820 will far exceed the S6 processor because Samsung's making this particular Snapdragon 820. So for those of you who don't know, Qualcomm is actually having Samsung make their processors now. So Samsung will effectively be making every mobile processor in the industry, with the exception of MediaTek. So they're going to be making Apple's processors, Samsung's own Exynos processors, and they're going to be making the Snapdragon 820 processors. So yeah, I mean they're just going to be getting so much money. 2016 will be the year that Samsung surpasses Intel for the highest volume processor manufacturer. Um, LG G5 or S7, it's hard to say. We don't know what either one has yet definitively. Uh, but, we'll find out next Sunday. It's next Sunday, guys, when they're announced. So, fingers crossed. Um, Samsung has not only dropped the ball with Marshmallow Update, the Gear S2 still does not have Samsung Pay ETA. Pathetic. Absolutely no. Samsung has definitely dropped the ball when it comes to that. I still don't have Samsung Pay on here, but to be quite honest, I don't care. For Samsung Pay on the watch. Why? Because it's NFC. If Samsung did a new watch where it had MST on it, the magnetic strip technology, you damn right I care. I want that shit now. But NFC technology, I feel is so limited. Almost nowhere has it, so I don't really care for it. But if I could get magnetic strip technology with Samsung Pay on here, I want it everywhere. I think Samsung should more so focus on getting missing banks like Wells Fargo, Capital One on Samsung Pay, as well as definitely gift cards. I want to use my loyalty cards specifically, like Starbucks and AMC and Best Buy. I can use with a third party app right now, but it's just not as good. I want all those cards on my watch and phone, and I want all of them. S6 enough said, though. I want the VR. Do you think it's worth getting? I think the VR is worth getting because there's only going to be more and more content coming out for it, and that's really what matters. That by the end of the year, you're going to have over like what 200, 300 apps of VR just because it's getting to be a growing market. And as Oculus Rift comes out, as HTC Vive comes out, as PlayStation VR comes out, you're only going to get more and more developers creating content for virtual reality, and it's going to keep coming. Do you have unlimited data at T-Mobile? Yes, I do. I have unlimited data. To heck with being capped. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely capped if at some point, right? But I have not been throttled to T-Mobile, and I use about anywhere from 20 to 40 gigs a month, and I haven't been capped, so I'm definitely uh, great for them to not be so kind of capping people right off the bat. Do you know if AT&T are bringing back unlimited data? You have to get their TV plan. You have to get either DirecTV or Uverse. So yes, you have to get one of those two in order to get their unlimited data plan for AT&T, as far as I've been told. What features does TouchWiz has that makes it so good? I think dual window, one-handed is really cool, and that's all I can think of. I mean, those are the two best ones. I'm not gonna lie. Those are the definitely two best ones. What other features does TouchWiz have? The All Share Cast. I have Samsung TVs in my house, so I have one, two, three, three Samsung TVs in my house. So All Share Cast, I particularly love for that reason. Other than that, though, yeah, I mean, those are the ones right off the bat that I do love. Definitely. From TouchWiz. Trying to think of anything TouchWiz wise specifically. I do love the Smart Manager app, although some carriers have blocked that out. The Smart Manager app is amazing, and really good. It will be useless as soon as the S7 and all these other ones have Marshmallow on it. They won't be as useful. Rather, not useless, but not as useful. But yeah, that you can change. They definitely did upgrade it with changing the grid, as well as doing themes and stuff like that. If you don't want to use launchers, it's good for those purposes. But yeah, for me, those are the two you named. One-handed operation and dual window are the two big things that I don't want to be without. Um, You should do a 3-month device update video. I think after a month and a half of the honeymoon period ends, performance wise. I've thought about doing that, Chronos. I really have. I just feel like I don't want to copy other reviewers, and I know other reviewers do that, Pocket Now does after the buzz. And I felt like Android Authority tried to copy them. Well, they try to copy a lot of people, but it's just people try to copy other reviewers and with that. I've thought about doing something like that, but if I would, maybe I'll make it like a 2-minute recap kind of thing on what's changed and is it worth still buying. Something like that, maybe. Like, should you buy it now? I think would be a better maybe video in that kind of aspect. So basically, like, it's 6 months later. Should you buy this phone now? With everything else out in the market, now how has that changed if you should buy it? Maybe something like that, and I would do it. Um, Verizon never capped me. I'm close to 200. Dang. I for sure did not get capped for Verizon while I was on there. However, when I left, they were about to start capping people, and it was for the excess users that basically did use things like Foxfi and stuff like that. I got out of it before they when they were still threatening it. So I'm not sure if they did or not. It sounds like for you they didn't. So I mean that's great. But I was afraid of that because yeah, it wasn't worth it to me. Um, which the Shield would do VR. Oh, the Nvidia Shield? Yeah, that would be interesting, right? Like connect a VR device to it. That would be cool. Um, do you that the LG will sell more units because they're going to all metal design and Samsung loses market share because the S7 will look so similar to the S6? So here's the thing between the S7 and the G5. I think LG is shooting themselves in the foot because they're going to try to launch the same day as Samsung, and that's stupid. That is just stupid. Here's why. Samsung is by far the top seller on Android. You want to know how far of a top seller is? LG is like in 5th place market share not nationwide, sorry, worldwide. They are nowhere near as big as Samsung is, and Samsung beats Apple in market share worldwide. But even Samsung, although they have more market share, is not stupid enough to go against Apple on launch weekend. No one's that stupid. Like, you would get destroyed and you wouldn't sell anything if you went against Apple on launch weekend. Why? Because they're Apple. They're going to sell more than you. Same thing that LG is doing. LG is going to try to sell the same day as Samsung. And they're not going to sell. Why? Because everyone's going to be buying Samsung. It's just that simple. Now, here's the thing though. LG could have had a great launch. They could have had an amazing launch if they launched it in May. they're going to go head to head with Samsung. I just don't see it working out for them. Now, that's not to say the phone might not be better than Samsung's phone. It very well could be. But that's not what we're talking about here. You're talking about the sales. Will they sell more units? No. No, they're going to sell less units than the G4 did. And it's simply because of this. Even though they have a metal design, even though they get, a new look, it's not going to compare to Samsung. How do I know this? How do I know that this will happen? Last year. Last year, HTC said, you know what? We're going to launch the same day as Samsung. We're going to launch the same damn day. It was their worst selling launch and worst selling phone ever. It was stupid. It's not smart. It's like, in the movie industry, Marvel and DC had the same day. Captain America Civil War had the same release date as Batman vs Superman. Now, in that case, I would say Batman vs Superman probably would have beat Captain America Civil War. But Batman vs Superman left. Why? Because it's a lose-lose situation. You don't make this much money when by moving a month or two you can make this much money. It's just stupid. So yeah, no one's gonna care. No one's gonna care about the LG G5, unfortunately, in my opinion, for the masses because of the launch date. And it's a shame because, like I said, the LG G5 might very well be better than the S7. But it won't matter, in my opinion, because sales will reflect that Samsung will be the better selling phone and the G5 might get lost. Kind of like how I think it was the G3 or G2 that year really was better than the S series at that time. And but it didn't sell anywhere near the amount it should have because the S series was the more popular one. What do you think about T-Mobile on Binge? Binge on. Binge on T-Mobile. I think it's a good step in the right direction. However, they don't have YouTube on board yet, and until they get YouTube on board, I don't see the benefit of it yet. So that's my thing. All my data comes from YouTube. I constantly, when I drive, because I drive about 20 minutes to half an hour, I live in LA, I have YouTube podcast on. So I have like all these YouTube. I have my split screen on Maps and my split screen on YouTube. And that's what I have all the time, and that's why my data is so high, is just simply because of that. I don't use it at home really. I use my Wi-Fi. I have Verizon Fios, love it, plenty of speed for me, so I don't need to use it here, but that's where I need to use it. So yeah, that's the main thing for it. Okay. Does AllShare Cast require Samsung Smart TV? It requires a Samsung Smart TV, or it requires a AllShare Cast hub or dongle, which you can buy on Amazon for about $40 or so. I have an S6 active, and the call standby and Google Play services take up a lot of battery. Anything I can do to stop that? Not sure why they're taking up so much battery on that phone. Doesn't really make sense. Make sure you're restarting it at least once a week. That's one thing that a lot of people don't do. And that is sometimes why the standby takes a lot of battery, because you haven't reset it to clear the cache and the temporary files. So that will take a lot. Also, go into storage and clear your cache data, because that is probably pretty high. And if you wipe that out, that'll also help you with just all that stuff is stored and you're not getting rid of it. So that will help a little bit. Apple has been the premium brand for so long, but now everyone has caught up. What do you think Apple will do to differentiate themselves from the competition? I think Apple will continue doing what they have been doing, and that is they keep taking features from other companies that might not be as well known, but it seems innovative. For instance, they took like voice commands and put it to Siri. It seemed innovative. They did try to do Apple Maps, but that was horrible, of course. They did a bigger screen. They did the front-facing flash, which LG had done before. So they always take things that other people have done, but now kind of since they do it, oh, it's the first one. I can't tell you how many people think Apple launched the first smartwatch, even though they're like literally the 10th person that launched a smartwatch. So it's just people take more notice with Apple. So yeah, I think they'll keep doing that. What will they do this year? I think they're gonna have a dual camera. I do think they're gonna have two cameras. They're gonna get rid of the headphone jack. They're gonna make their phone look more different. Maybe they'll go back to glass again. I don't know. It's really curious to see what they're gonna do style wise. I definitely think this is gonna be a different look. So yeah. Um, yeah, I wonder if there will be a new VR for the S7. Uh, I don't. I think there will be a new VR for the S7 if there's a Type C connection on the S7. So if the Galaxy S7 has a Type C connection, I think there will be a new VR for it. If there's not, then there probably won't be. When is the S6 active getting Marshmallow? The S6 active will probably get Marshmallow later on down the line. I'm guessing like May. Yeah. I bet blocked hotspot. The camera you use on YouTube. The camera that I'm using right now is the Panasonic Lumix G7. That's the camera that I'm using right now, and I'm using it through my gaming capture card, which is this one right here, the Elgato Game Capture HD60. It's the best rated one on Amazon, and it's been really good. As you can see, it streams pretty seamlessly. I had to fix the audio though, because the audio was really off when I first did it. It's still not perfect, but it's as good as I can get it right now while I've been trying to transition with my new computer. Apple hit a crossroads next year. SD. Yeah, Apple definitely hit a crossroads for sure. It's really curious to see, like I said, what they're going to end up doing. And yeah, I'm very curious to see how they're going to change everything. I think that, again, they will have the dual camera. What if they put waterproof? If they put a water resistant, even iPhone? I think that's a possibility this year. I think it's definitely a possibility. Very curious to see what they do. But yeah, I do not know yet. We'll find out everything about the iPhone in June. That's when typically everything starts leaking for the new iPhone, so we'll probably get everything that we need to know about the new iPhone in June. Alright guys, that might be everything. Leave some more comments in the comment section if you have any questions. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my other YouTube channel, The Mainstream Movie Guy. I just uploaded my Deadpool movie review as well as my Zoolander 2 movie review, and I just did a video on how Deadpool actually beat out every other superhero opening ever. They actually beat out the debut movie of everyone. They beat out Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, everyone. So check that out. It's crazy to see how much that movie sold. So yeah, but that's coming out. We are going to be covering next Sunday. We're going to talk about, we'll probably do a separate video for the S7 and G5 announcement, and then we'll jump on Android Weekly and do that. Remember, this Tuesday, we will have a special Android Weekly 4-year anniversary edition where we will announce the winners and, of course, just talk about everything. So, yeah, ask your questions. 2 days from now, we're going to have another episode of Android Weekly, so if you didn't get to watch live, definitely make sure to tune in. I'm wondering if wireless headsets, sort of like Sonos. I haven't used a Sonos, so I can't answer that myself. I've heard great things about the sound quality of them, but I just can't answer because I haven't tried them out. Do you think we will never have a phone without bloatware? I think they're going to try to minimize bloatware, but it's really just telling the carriers to back the fuck off. Really, that needs to happen. Just no, you can't put any of your software. That's what needs to happen. Until that does, I don't think it's going to happen. What I would really love as a bloatware actually is Hangouts. I think Hangouts should be the default text message app for all of Android. Simply because that's the only way Android will really compete with iOS. If you think about it, Hangouts has an instant messenger and a video chat, so it's a two in one, and then it will get people to start actually saying, "Oh, do you have Hangouts? Because I don't want to text you. I want to hang out, instant message you. I want to, video chat with you through Hangouts." And then you're gonna have people on Apple being like, "Oh, well, maybe I need to switch to Hangouts instead of FaceTime and iMessage," and that will finally stop that whole headache that they have. Can you make a tour of office setup like some are doing? Um, Not right now. Mine is a mess, a complete mess. My fiance is completely amazing because I had a lot of stuff upstairs besides all the stuff I have here, and she actually organized that today. So she is amazing. She did that for me for Valentine's Day. She's amazing, and she did that for me. I have to take care of a lot of stuff in here before I could do a tour. I did do a tour back in the day on what the hell was it? On Periscope. I did a tour on Periscope a while back, and it was when I had everything in a nice, neat state, which right now it's not. It is not in a neat state. So yeah, I could do a tour, not now, but at some point. Um, do you know about any other types of phones coming from Samsung? I mean, we still have the Project Valley, right? For those of you who don't remember, last year we got wind of Project Valley, which is a bendable screen phone that Samsung has been working on for years now. That one we still haven't heard about. And my thing is this: if the S6, or sorry, S7 Edge Plus, not Plus, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be a bigger screen phone, then here's the question. If it is going to be a bigger screen phone, then what's going to come out with the Note? Because Samsung has now set the status that they're launching two phones each launch. So, what's going to come out with the Note 6? Possibly Project Valley? That's what I think. I think we're finally going to get a bendable phone this year in 2016. Am I right? Am I wrong? We'll have to wait and see. But I believe we're going to get a bendable screen phone this year, 2016. Tell us what is the produce of charging the battery on Android phones. There's a lot of myths. So there is a lot of myths. Basically, and you have even companies like CNET and all these different companies who get it wrong. So there's a lot of things. First of all, you have a certain amount of charges on your phone. And some people will tell you that you cannot overcharge your battery anymore. That is both true and false because of this. When you charge your phone, and this isn't Android phones, it's Apple phones too. They have the same. They do it the same way. What all of these do is something called trickle charging. What trickle charging is it's a way to make it stop charging your phone so that it swells up. And it really will do that, but there's one thing here. Trickle charging, what it ends up doing is it drops down to 95 or 90% and then goes back up, goes back down, goes back up. Your battery only has so many times that it's going to be able to fully charge. And that's why trickle charging eventually still damages your battery. And if you charge it overnight, you're eventually going to get a bad battery. And what I mean by that is your battery will never fully stay at 100% or never really reach 100%, even though it's indicating to you that it is reaching 100%. So that's why, your battery will suddenly go from 100 to 90 to 90 to 80 to 70, and you're like, what the hell? Why is it dropping so quickly? It's because the cycle count has ended. It is now fully done, and it can't hold the charge anymore the way it used to. Wireless charging is a bit different because the voltage in it is a lot less and the amperage in it is a lot less. So for that reason, you're never going to have this issue because it keeps it at the top without doing trickle charge and without overcharging it. So it basically solves the two issues. While trickle charging solves one issue, it doesn't swell up the battery and overcharges it. It still makes the cycle count go, whereas wireless charging does neither. That's why wireless charging is so effective. And that's everything you need to know about battery and charge. Anything you are looking forward to and seeing on the HTC M10, that ain't coming out of MWC. I know there's all these websites that still are like, oh, the HTC M10, the perfume, and all this kind of stuff. I've heard nothing concrete about it. HTC hasn't sent out their invitation by now. It's not happening. It's not happening. HTC is going to do their Vive pre-orders this month, and that's what they're focusing on. Maybe next month they'll get to the M10. Maybe 2 months from now they'll get to the M10. They're not worried about the M10 right now. They got to sell the Vive. They got to make money to support them because the M series was really bad for them last year. Again, because they went up against Samsung, and they shouldn't have done that. So yeah. Then is there an app that will cause the phone to ring when it's done charging? There probably is an app like that. I've never thought of an app like that. Yeah, never thought of an app like that. But I mean, I don't know. It's just like you should take your phone off the charger as soon as you can, and that should be it, really. I know it's kind of like, I mean, there might be an app when it hits 100% that it tells you, it notifies you. That's definitely a possibility. There's probably a watch app too that you can do that. But yeah, it'll tell you, it'll give you a notification, and then you can send the notification to your watch. That's definitely possible. Rumor, new Android N features. Android N, the big rumor right now is split screen. We'll find out in, what is it, May or March? Sometime during then. I forgot. I need to update it on our website. How do you feel about LG going right at Samsung this year, showcasing the G5 the same day as S7? I talked about this earlier. It's stupid. It really is stupid. LG is silly if they think they're gonna take away a lot of sales from Samsung. They're just gonna hurt themselves and ensure they get themselves less sales. They're gonna launch the same day as well, from everything I've heard. But again, it's very silly because it's not gonna work. LG is gonna sell less because they're going against Samsung, the same way that Samsung would sell a lot less if they go against Apple. So yeah, it's not good for business. You don't do that. And we talked about earlier, HTC did that last year against Samsung, and it was bad. It was the worst sales the HTC ever had. Is there going to be a Samsung watch? You mean another one? I'm guessing you mean, is there going to be a new Samsung watch with the launch of the new phone? I don't believe so. I think we'll see a new watch when we get the new Note. I would say probably then Samsung will release a new watch. What do you think about the iWatch? The iWatch, the European company, or the Apple Watch? The Apple Watch is like whatever, but yeah. I'm not going to call that number. I'm going to remove that. You shouldn't ever have a number on there. Yeah, the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch was whatever. I mean, even Tim Cook himself. Tim Cook himself said, "This isn't the watch we wanted to create, but the second generation will be the watch we wanted to create." Look it up. He actually said that, and people still bought that fucking watch. The battery life has improved dramatically since when we reviewed it, but it was just so mediocre. The fact that you can't, the fact that they only have those 9 watch faces, and you can customize it basically by changing the background photo, but it's really nowhere near the customization of having different entire watch faces that are entirely different that you have on Android or the Samsung Watch. So it's just limited to me. Also, I don't like the idea of companion apps. I will give that to Samsung with their standalone apps on here. For the Gear S2, you can have standalone apps. I like that a lot better than just companion apps. Um, do you have T-Mobile Binge on? Uh, okay, and now you're getting blocked. See how that works? Boom. Boom. There you go. Sorry, we had two bad apples this time. Uh, yeah, I already did. Uh, um, do you have a T-Mobile Binge on? I do not actually. I just don't need it. Because I have unlimited, so I don't need it. But I would recommend T-Mobile Binge on to anyone else, definitely. What's up with the Note 6? We talked about the Note 6 a little bit earlier, and yeah, it was just really, it was really funny that we might see. Sorry, I got caught up in the chat room. The Note 6, it's apparently going to have like a 12 megapixel camera, 6 gigs of RAM, 5.8-inch screen, and 1 gig dedicated graphics card. That's insane. I would love to see it. Any reason why Apple apps take so long to download compared to Android? Um, I'm not sure on that. They don't really take that long on our iPhone 6S Plus that we have, but I'm not sure why they would take longer or less. They shouldn't. Um, what kind of phone do you have right now? My main driver is the Galaxy Note 5. I just got done reviewing the. Oh, it's in the car actually. The Huawei Mate 8. So I had that for a couple weeks. That's my secondary phone. But yeah, overall I have the Note 5 is my current one, and when the S7 Edge come out and G5 come out, I'll probably be reviewing two of those at a time and seeing maybe one of those will take over as my daily driver. We'll see. All right, guys. I think that'll be the end of the show. That's my Deadpool shirt. So yeah, thank you as always for joining. Got almost an hour today. We will have a special episode of Android Weekly in 2 days at 9 p.m. this Tuesday. So make sure to tune in and see if you won. All right, guys. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.